Well, John 3, 7 to 9. The wind bloweth where it listeth. Well, it's the Spirit. Bloweth where it listeth. Where it chooses, where it pleases. I think we tend to think of where it lies, where it is, as it will. The only occasion where pneuma is translated as wind instead of spirit makes far more sense to say spirit, except the word bloweth. Well, bloweth as in to breathe, to move. Breath is associated with life. If you stop the air moving, you're dead. And life seems to be where it chooses, where it lies, where it is. It's a given, a bit like the wind, of course. I mean, the wind is, who can control the mighty wind, you see? But of course the wind, you know where the wind comes from and where it goes to. The southwest wind comes from the southwest. It blows towards the northeast. It's very simple. But life, did the breath come again? It did, he's alive. It didn't, he's dead. And it is where it is. I mean, what can you do about it? It's, if you like, the sovereign will of God. It's not something we can interfere with in that sense. So breath comes where it will. We check the breath to see if the life is there. And God is understood to be God of the living God, the Lord, the giver of life. And the whole point is that Jesus is come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Life eternal. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. It's of the will of God, not the will of man. How wonderful. It takes the pressure out of life, doesn't it? He is able and he is willing. God of the living, our God. Love you, Dad. So the scripture is wrong. It's not wind at all. Everyone knows where the wind comes from and where it goes to. But the Spirit, bloweth where it listeth. Now here is the sound thereof. Listen to a person close. Is he alive? Put your ear to his chest. He's breathing. Right, he is then. The air's moving in and out the lungs. Wind in that sense. Air. Life. It's the evidence of life, isn't it? Thank you, Dad. So we find, incidentally, there are many meditative practices, not just Buddhism and so on, but where we watch the breath, we calm the breath. Some exalted state might be where the breath stops. And you might do this in a moment of hesitation. You need to get the next moment absolutely right. Everything stops, even your breathing. Startled. You need inspiration of God to cope with some situation, emergency perhaps. And then you find it isn't, you can breathe again. Relaxed. Yeah, good. Back to living. And perhaps the notion that if we pause our obsession with being present here in this world, and for a moment just wait upon God, perhaps we will receive intuition, enlightenment, even if that's your seeking and inclination, your bent. Perhaps intuition, perhaps a great peace, great assurance. But life in this world is for breathing, breath, and it comes as it will, departs when it will. It is in the hands of God, in some sense, from our childish point of view. Well, we can certainly moderate it and change it and hold our breath, and not need breath for quite a while, perhaps, especially if you saturated the body with oxygen, and you're not, if you like, using much of it in physical activity. 4/5 of the oxygen you breathe, in general, run-of-the-mill living, is actually consumed by the brain. If you settle the mind, your consumption of oxygen presumably is rather lower. I mean, if you're able to really settle the mind. Cut down the brain activity and cut down the demands for oxygen. And perhaps you become more sensitive then, not to the noise and commotion that it's causing itself and dealing with, the calmness in which you can, put it figuratively, see God. Be sensitive to God's thought and guidance. So we have quiet times. Thank you, Dad. And in those quiet times we do indeed wait upon the Lord, in the old Christian jargon. Await intuition. Hold ourselves in readiness, so that the Spirit may come as it listeth. It's as if intuition passes through us. And we may find in this a great comfort, taste of heaven. And God, in that sense, speaks to us. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.